Hello, Manifesting Miracles family. Hey, it's Andrea, and I wanted to come live for today's Manifesting Miracles show and share how to hold the energy, how to hold the frequency of your future self. So that's what we're going to be going over today. And if you can see me, if you can hear me, type it in the chat. Tansley. Hi, Tansley. If you can hear me, let me know. Comment below if you can hear me. Type it in the chat. How do you feel you're doing, or how do you feel you do holding the energy of your future self? Type it in the chat and let me know. So how do you feel you're doing holding the energy of your future self? And what do you feel knocks you out of the energy of your future self? Type it in the comments below. And we're going to dive into this. And I'm really excited about this live because this is the piece, right? This is it. You can do the meditations, you can do the breath work, you can do all the healing modalities, right? You can reprogram your subconscious mind, do all these things. But it really comes down to being able to hold that energy throughout your waking day. That's where there's like a mismatch that happens, right? So the person is in their meditation, they're visualizing, they see it, they're in it, they feel it, they've become it. They get up, 3 hours later, they're right back to the past self. They're yelling at their boss is triggering them, they're hiding from their boss, yelling at their boss, hating their job. I hate being here. Why am I here? The momentum of the past self created reality comes in as the person gets up from their meditation and starts to move throughout their day. So I'm really excited to do this live today because if you can hold the energy of your future self with eyes open in front of your boss, in front of the traffic jam, in front of your ex, in front of the body that you hate or dislike, or the body that's let you down, or the illness, the sickness. If you can hold it and be in it more than you are out of it, your 3D reality, which we all know it's an illusion, right? If you're on this live right now, you know that the 3D world is a hologram. It's a hologram. It's not real. It's a projection. Who's projecting the hologram? How is the hologram being created? Who's creating the hologram? Me. I'm creating the hologram. I created that boss I don't like. I created that health condition. I created the 40 plus pounds that I was overweight. I created the high cholesterol through the roof. I created the asthma, the scoliosis, the crappy relationship that I was in at the time. I created all of it. It was me. It's always us. It's always my responsibility for my reality, right? It's always me who's creating my reality, whether I'm aware of it or not. We are creators of our reality, whether we're conscious of it or not. We're constantly creating our reality. So let's read some of these comments here. Oh, Lucy. Lucy's on. Lucy. Helen. Hi, Helen. Dorothea. Yeah. Hi, Dorothea. Tanya. Hi, Tanya. Tanya was on the Release It workshop that we had yesterday. We went for 3 hours on that workshop yesterday. It was phenomenal. The sharing, the vulnerability, the space that we held for one another. If you were there, thank you for being there. That was such a special, profound workshop. Thank you for being there. Kelly, all right. Shanti, Helen. All right, I see some comments coming through. Tanya says it was fantastic. Yes, it was. It was fantastic. If you want the replay, click on my Facebook profile picture. You'll see my stories, and you can get the replay in my stories, and you have lifetime access to that replay. It was so over, above, and beyond. It was phenomenal. Lucy says, I'm sorry I missed it. Lucy, we really missed you. We missed you, but that's okay. Watch the replay, Lucy. I sent you the replay. It's in your messages. Sandy, the workshop was so great. So glad I attended. Sandy, yes. The people that we had on that workshop were the best people. We have some of the best people in this community as far as the vulnerability, the authenticity, the shares, being able to hold space for one another. And what happens is we can create this field together as a community, and it's the heart field, right? The heart and brain coherence field that's created naturally as you enter heart and brain coherence. There's a very coherent field around the body that starts to organize itself and expand. And we tap into each other's fields. So our nervous systems calibrate to each other's heart and brain fields. So we can share a very healing space and allow for one another to heal, to release, to attune the nervous system, the energy centers, to a higher level of consciousness just by being in the group. So thank you for being there. It was phenomenal. We're going to have another one. So stay on my stories. I've been doing a lot of posting on my stories. So just click my Facebook cover photo, the picture of my face, and you'll see the stories. And that's where I'll be announcing the masterclasses, the workshops, programs, things like that. So stay up with those stories. So how do you feel you're doing holding the energy of your future self? I don't know if I see any comments on that. So type it in the chat. I don't see any comments on that. How do you feel you're doing? Do you feel you're doing great? Do you feel like you can hold it in the morning, but maybe not in the afternoon? Maybe you can hold it like on Mondays or Tuesdays, but then like on Wednesdays you crash. How are you doing with that? So type it in the chat, and let's get a conversation going about that, and we can start to expand this conversation and expand your consciousness so that you can hold the energy of your future self longer throughout your waking day. Because remember, we must stay a frequency match to our future selves. I have to be a frequency match over 50% of the time for that thing to start to show up. So if I'm meditating and I'm meditating on my passionate lover to show up, or maybe I'm meditating on my healing to happen, maybe I'm meditating on financial abundance, my purpose work taking off, maybe I'm meditating on moving. So in order for that crystal clear intention to start to particleize and you be the witness to that timeline, you must synchronize your energy to that timeline that already exists as a potential in the field, in the quantum field, right? So in the quantum field, every potential exists. Everything exists in the quantum field. Every single potential. It's unfathomable to the human mind. So it's already been created. It's already been done. You've already healed. You've already attracted your lover. You've already moved. You already have that business, that passion work. You're already thriving. Everything's already done. It's all done. It's all exists as a potential in the field. So our only job, and this is how we collapse time and space, right? This is how we collapse time and space. This is how we don't have to be a slave to the 3D illusion. With this knowledge, with this way of being, with these practices, we can just tune in to a new potential in the field. And by tuning into that new potential, synchronizing our energy to that potential in the field, that potential in the field has to show up. It's the law. So if I've truly married my energy to that potential in the field and I've become that thing, I've become that person, that is my consciousness, right? So that's my new consciousness. So if I'm meditating on abundance, and that means that I can't be worried about lack or thinking in lack all day. I can't be feeling lack. I have to be constantly in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, as Neville Goddard would say. So I have to be moving, talking, walking in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. I have to become that abundant person. An abundant person doesn't think about lack, right? An abundant person thinks about giving. So how can I give today? How can I be of service today? How can I give more love? How can I be of more service to my neighbor, to my friends, to my family? And an abundant person is not giving from a place of lack. They're not giving from burnout. They're not giving from exhaustion. They're not giving from not enough. An abundant person is giving from overflow, is giving from cup runneth over. So how can I be more abundant in my presence? How can I be more abundant in my listening, in my holding space? How can I be more abundant in gratitude, compassion? That's the frequency of abundance. The abundant person isn't walking around, well, I gotta hurry up and get this done so I can go get the next thing done, and then I've got to go run over here. An abundant person is not living in lack, right? Lack of time, lack of energy, lack of finances, lack of compassion, gratitude. An abundant person is living in an abundance of time, an abundance of love, an abundance of giving, compassion, gratitude. That's the consciousness of abundance. So let's look at the comments here. All right, so we've Larissa. Hi, Larissa. Trish is on. All right, Trish. Yes, happy solstice, Kelly. Happy solstice, everyone. All right, so Sandy says, the more I overcome myself and learn and show up for myself, the better I am at being in the energy of my future self. Yes, that's it. It's constantly, consistently showing up for oneself. And I really, in my heart, feel it's staying in a community, a support system, a tribe, I guess you could call it, a family, because it's a lifestyle change. So what that means is that whoever I surround myself with, I become, right? And this is science. So our nervous systems calibrate to the people that we surround ourselves with. This is why we have groups of people, right? We have the group of people that's poor over here on this side of town. Then we have the group of people that's really, really rich over here on this side of town. And it's like these pockets of people, they all like hang out together, right? So this is why we keep attracting who we are. We attract who we are. I attract who I am. So having the support system, the community, the tribe, a family, some kind of family, community, support system, in my heart, I believe is the secret sauce, if there is a secret sauce, because the tribe, the community, will constantly pull you up, will constantly keep you expanding, will constantly keep you evolving, as long as that community is expanding, evolving, and growing, learning, right? So if I'm having a bad day or a bad week, if I can just get to that meeting, if I can just get to that workshop, if I can just get around the community, if I can just get around the people, then my nervous system will calibrate to the field that's around the people, because a gathering of people, there's a field, an energetic field that occurs when people gather. And this is why we get vibes, right? So who remembers this in high school? Who remembers in high school there was like the punk rock kids, and then there was like the emos, and then there was the goth kids, then there was the really cool kids in high school? Who remembers that? For me, when I was in high school, we had all of them. We had all the different groups. And I was never the cool one, just so you know. I was always the really shy one, the one like hiding in the corner, super shy, hiding. I just had like a few select people that I talked to. So for me to be on this live, doing these workshops, doing these meditations, I truly believe in my heart that anything is possible. Anybody can do this. Anything is possible. Anybody can do this. So Daniela says, I can hold it till some thought comes that's unsecure that knocks me out of my being. Yes. Okay, that's a great one, Daniela, because this is what happens, right? So you're in the energy, we're in the energy, I'm in the energy, right? I'm my future self. And I would do this at work. So I would show up to work as my future self, and I would be all like happy and smiling and joyful, and then my boss or one of my coworkers would say something, or I would look at somebody and then there's the thought, ooh, you don't like them. Oh, they're not gonna let you stay in this positive energy today. They're not gonna let you stay in this joy today. You got to work with them. You got to work side by side with them. So that was the thought that would come in for me. And that's to me, in my opinion, that's the initiation. In my opinion, that's the initiation. That's the test. So when the thought comes, you're not good enough, you're not your future self. What are you doing? You're not this positive person. Well, that person's not going to let you stay positive, or your body still hurts. you're still overweight. These are all the thoughts that I would have. You're still overweight. Your body still hurts. You still can't breathe. The asthma. You're never going to find somebody. Nobody will ever love you. That was a constant for me. Nobody will ever love you. That was a constant. I still, to this day, that thought. Nobody will ever love you. That thought. I still, to this day, I catch it. I catch it. And the interesting thing about that thought was I wasn't even aware. I didn't even know I had that thought until probably a year ago. A year ago, that was a thought. That was a subconscious thought that was revealed to me about a year ago. And I have been in this work now for over 2 years, coaching, helping people for over 2 years. I've been in the work for probably 3.5 years now, maybe 4 years now altogether. And it wasn't till last year that I became conscious of that thought. Nobody will ever love you. There it is, the thought. Nobody will ever love you. And I recognize it. I see it. So nobody will ever love me. And there's a feeling that comes with the thought. For me, the heart. My heart starts to close. Like I can feel my heart getting tight. I can feel my heart getting tight. My chest will start to close. My breathing will get really shallow. And it will start to feel like I'm almost dying inside. Like I can't breathe. My heart's closing. And that was when I would just go get something to eat. Or I would go bother the person that I was in a relationship with. Because I was so codependent that I would go from one relationship to another relationship to another relationship to another, no breaks. So I would just go bother the person that I was with at the time. But I didn't do that this time. I didn't do that. I caught the thought. I saw the thought. I recognized the thought. So if you see the thought, Daniela, which you do, you're aware of the thought. That's the first step, is awareness. We've got to become aware of the thought. Now there's 60,000 to 90,000 thoughts a day that you think. There's 60,000 to 90,000 thoughts a day that you think. Most of them are subconscious. They're subconscious and they're rapid fire. They're rapid fire. They just whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. They just fire. And they just slip by. They slip by the brain stem, right into the subconscious mind body. Then the body starts creating all these chemicals, all these hormones. And all of a sudden, your heart starts to close for me, right? So my heart, all of a sudden, my chest is tightening. All of a sudden, I can't breathe. Let me go get something to eat. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. Let me try to soothe myself. Soothe myself, whatever is happening here. I have no idea what's happening. And let me try to go get something to eat. Let me call somebody. Let me bother somebody. Let me go fill in the blank. So what do you do when that thought comes? What is your reaction to that thought? Right? So the first thing is we become aware of the thought. We've got to be aware of the thought or the feeling, right? Could be a feeling. Because remember, the body is on a loop. The body's on a feeling, thinking, feeling loop. And then this creates our actions or no actions. And this creates our state of being. How I feel, how I think, and how I act creates what's called a state of being. So that's who I'm being, right? So in my past self, Andrea, was being addicted to food, was being addicted to needing positive validation. I had to go have somebody tell me, I love you, you're amazing, I love you. And this was all subconscious. I wasn't aware that I was doing this, but that would soothe me. So I needed something outside of me to tell me that I was lovable. I needed something outside of me to tell me that I had value, to tell me that I was lovable, to tell me that I was valuable, lovable. So what are you doing when the thought comes? What's your reaction? So that's the second thing, right? So the first thing is awareness. Second thing is reaction, catching the reaction, because the reaction is your past self, right? So if I'm reacting I'm reacting from past self energy. That's what a reaction is. A reaction is when I just fire something out from a state of past self energy. A response is when I'm consciously responding in the moment. So I'm consciously responding how I want to respond. So instead of me having to run to the fridge to go get something to eat or have to run to somebody so that they tell me that I'm lovable, I was able to sit with it, breathe through it. So I was able to sit with that emotion and no longer run away, which is what I was doing. I was running away from that thought. So the thought was coming, you're not lovable, no one's gonna ever love you, and then I would run away from that thought. So I was in a fight, like a flight mode, right? So I was in flight mode, and this is all subconscious. I wasn't aware of it at the time. And then that was my reaction. So I was able to catch it, breathe through it. So sit with the feeling, breathe through the feeling. Start to self-regulate. So I started to be able to self-regulate in the moment. And when we're able to self-regulate in the moment, we're able to respond. So it takes us from reaction, so it takes us from past self reaction, right? Because that's what reaction is. It's reacting as your past self, reacting as your programming. So if I'm reacting, I'm just reacting as a program, right? Program, reaction, program. But when I'm responding, I'm now consciously responding how I want to respond. So I want to respond with compassion. That's my future self. I want to respond with love. That's my future self. And that's my authentic self. So my authentic self is compassion, love, peace, so breathing into the area, so breathing into the heart, soothing myself,
easy,
going into an open-eyed meditation. The puppies are barking.
I can't stop that. Enough.
That's how we hold the energy between us and our future selves. So I start responding as my future self. And when I respond as my future self, that creates a future self outcome. And a future self outcome is a future self reality. So all of a sudden, I start creating all these future self outcomes because I'm no longer reacting, I'm now responding. And all of a sudden, I start jumping timelines. All of a sudden, my body heals because my body isn't being tortured by me running from this thought and eating or calling somebody, having to talk to somebody from a codependent place, right? It's good to talk to somebody. It's good to share. It's good to be vulnerable. But what's the energy behind it? Are we sharing to get positive validation? Or are we sharing to share? So it's looking at the energy behind the actions. Because ultimately, the energy behind the actions is what's shaping the photons, the molecules, the particles. It's not matter that's creating matter. It's energy that's shaping photons into a particular arrangement that we then call matter, or a chair, or a person, or a job, or a situation. So it's always our energy that's shaping our reality, whether we're aware of it or not. So that was a great question, Daniela. So awareness, looking at the reaction. So what are you doing when that thought comes? What happens? So looking at the reaction, the response, and catching it, right? So you've got to catch it, because all of this happens rapid fire. This all happens rapid fire. And that's why we have to do the meditations every day. There's people that will tell you you don't need to meditate. Maybe that's true for some people. I don't know. I really don't know. What I do know for me, my personal story, I had to meditate every single day. I still do. 3 times a day, 2 times a day minimum. And really making my life the meditation. So making my life the moving meditation. So that means the meditation starts when I get up out of the meditation. That's when the meditation actually starts, is when I get out of the meditation. Because these things happen so fast that unless you're in a meditation, right, you're not going to be able to catch it. So showing up to work in the meditation, showing up to the trigger in the meditation, making your life the moving, walking meditation is ultimately how you're not going to let one thought slip by. You can't let one thought slip by. So let's see what else is coming up here. So Lucy says, not as good as I would like to, off and on all day. And I'm not perfect by any means. I don't ever want anybody to think that I'm perfect. Be okay with the on and off all day, or I can hold it before I get to work, or I can hold it before I see this person. I can hold it before I look at my body. I can hold it before I get pain in my body. I can hold it before whatever it is. Be okay with that. And just the awareness of the pattern, is the awakening process. So becoming aware that you're aware that I can hold it on this part of the day, off this part of the day, or on, maybe it's random. That awareness is the awakening process. So keep that in mind, that ultimately what's happening is you're becoming aware that you're aware. And that's the celebration. That's the thing that should have you jumping up and down in the backyard, excited, because if I'm aware that I'm aware, so if I'm aware that this is happening in my in this part of my day, then you're actually not, then it's not subconscious. It's not subconscious. It's actually not a subconscious automatic program. And what that means is that if it's not a subconscious automatic programs, it means that you have power. You have your power there. You're conscious. So that is sovereignty, power. So you can make a choice.